Hi everyone, and welcome to the second Facebook Live that I've done of 2018. And I'd like to talk to you today about things to consider when you purchase a domain name. Now, this Facebook Live was inspired by a conversation I had today with somebody who had already, in their excitement, rushed out and purchased a domain name which wasn't an ideal fit for their business, and it got me thinking about a way I can help other people avoid going through that same problem, really. So I've come up with a few little points to consider before you rush out and purchase a domain name. So we'll start off with a good one for business in general, really, and that is it easy to remember? So is your business name got some intricate spellings, difficult words, a load of words put together, because if you have too many, then obviously people are more likely to mistype those words. They're going to forget who you are in terms of your business name. So it's really important just to make sure that if your business name has a lot of words or intricate words, maybe there's a way you can shorten it. And that kind of leads me into the second point, which is, will your business name or will your domain name fit nicely on a business card? So that's the test, really. I mean, my domain name, Showcase Web Development, only just, I don't know if that's going to come out the right way around or not, but that only just fits on a business card. So I'm pushing the boundaries. So what you can do in those instances is you can buy more domain names, and some of the ones you can get are a shortened version of your full business name. So it's kind of more easy to remember, less likely to be mistyped, and you can still all link it all to the same original main domain. So, you know, the ones that I have are things like SCWD, Showcase Web Development, or Showcase WD instead of Showcase Web Development. I've purchased all of those, and I use them at various points to make it easier for people to remember who I am, to be honest. Okay, so it kind of leads me to another point where there isn't a limit to the amount of domain names you can own. You can have as many as you want, and you can use them however you want. Now, in my experience, it can be quite tricky to manage them, especially if they're all bought from different registrars or hosting companies. So I like to try and keep them all in one place, and that way I can see which ones are due for expiry when, make the payments, etc., all to one place. It's just easy to track. But there isn't actually a limit to how many you can have. I've heard of massive companies with 10,000 domains, different variants, because at that level they can afford to buy mistyped domains deliberately. So they're capturing all that traffic of people who can't actually spell their name properly. So yeah, that's something to consider. There's no limit. The way I would work it is I would use it as a net. So some people might not be able to remember Showcase Web Development, but they can remember Showcase. So if I could get hold of the Showcase domain, which I can't because there's some cinema somewhere called Showcase, but I would go for the Showcase domain name and just repoint that traffic to the Showcase Web Development main domain, and you can speak to your web developer who can do that fairly easily and at low cost, or you contact me and I can help you out. So if that's not enough for you, then also think about, does your domain name spell something undesirable when typed into the browser bar? Quite an odd concept, but you might remember a few years ago there was a very undesirable incident for Susan Boyle, I think it was. She had an album release, and they had a big party, which was great. And they decided, her PR company decided to purchase a specific domain for her party details and website, and they went ahead and bought Susan album party .com or .co.uk, and when everybody was typing it into Twitter with a little hashtag, it came out with Sue's Anal Bum Party. So just be a little bit careful of what it's going to spell when you write it out. So maybe test a few variants first, and then that leads me on to checking that your domain is available. You might go through all this rigmarole, and you come to purchase a domain and somebody else has got it, like I have with the Showcase domain. I use a website called instantdomainsearch.com, which means that you can you just type in the proposed domain that you want to search for, and as you type, it tells you if the domain you're after is available, and it also recommends variations as well in case that isn't available, or you want to buy more than one in one go. So that's instantdomainsearch.com. I also then check to see whether I can get the .com and the .co.uk versions of the domain, and that's mainly to block out any competition who might, because of my amazing success, they might want to set up a rival company under the same name but use the .com version rather than the .co.uk, and then anybody who's heard of Showcase or whoever, or your business, they go to the wrong one inadvertently, and your direct competition is pilfering your traffic. So I would always recommend getting the .co.uk and .com versions of your domains. And even now, with the latest release of the new types of domain, I would probably purchase the .co version as well, just to catch any people who press enter a little bit too soon. Other than that, I think one of the big things to consider is cost as well. The cost for domain names varies quite a lot. I've seen deals recently of as low as £3. Can't really beat that. I've seen £1. I've seen £100. I've seen £1,000. But generally, the rule of thumb that I tend to look at is if I'm paying around about £10 to £15 a year, roughly, then I'm in the right ballpark. I think that companies that offer cheaper domains than that, they've got to get their money from somewhere. So I'd imagine there's going to be charges for adding email accounts, extra hosting, website management, in terms of, you can only have a single website on that domain, that kind of stuff. So I'm always a bit wary about that, but sometimes you do get a good deal, and if in doubt, feel free to drop us an email or whatever. But just, £10 to £15 a year is probably about average, unless you are looking to register that domain for about 5 years. This is something I picked up from an SEO company in the last couple of weeks, really, and Google, in their infinite wisdom, are looking now to see how long companies are registering domains for, as an effort to see whether they are honest. Not honest, that's the wrong word. Whether they're looking to stay around for a long time and deliver a good service to customers. So they're not penalising companies with less on their registration, but they're certainly taking it into consideration. And I think the tipping point is about 5 years. So look to buy a domain for about 5 years or more. You can register up to 9, I think is the maximum. So if you register for 5, then obviously you want to get it cheaper than £10 to £15 a year. So you're probably looking at between 5 and 10 for that kind of length of time, I would imagine. And another thing that happens when you purchase a domain, if you've never done that before, it's a very easy shopping cart process. You just fill in your details, make your payment. But what they always tend to do is try and upsell you other stuff on the way through. And one of the things that they try and upsell you is domain privacy. Okay, which on the face of it sounds like a cracking idea. the concept is this: when you register your domain, all your details go to the main central domain registration people, whose name completely escapes me right now, but I'll add it into the comments. And when your details are there, obviously people can search through the database and get hold of them, and then send you marketing emails and that kind of stuff. And if you've ever bought a domain in the last couple of years particularly, I don't know about you guys, but I definitely get hounded by Indian call centres offering me websites, which is quite ironic really, because normally I'm the one hounding them. No. Yeah, I just get absolutely bombarded by calls, and the idea of hiding my details from these guys so that I don't get pestered is tempting, especially when it's only £3 or £4. But again, in the discussion with this SEO company, they suggested to me, and I don't know about the legitimacy or whether the tangibility of this, but Google will look at that and think, well, who's most likely to hide their details? Is it going to be somebody totally legitimate, or somebody doing something a bit shady? Now, for me, that makes total sense to me, that somebody doing something that they possibly shouldn't have to or shouldn't be doing would hide their details. So Google is, and obviously they haven't confirmed or denied this, but they are taking that into consideration for sure. So I would steer clear of domain privacy, certainly for now, and just take the hit on getting bombarded by Indian call centres for the first few days after you make the purchase. Know it's going to happen, and be prepared for it. If you want to go down that route, then by all means. Personally, I wouldn't. So, you know, this is probably the longest Facebook Live I've ever watched. I'm not watching it, I'm doing it. So it's the longest Facebook Live I've ever done. In summary, I would work through that checklist and carefully consider the domain names you're going to purchase, because it will help generate you traffic. It will improve the credibility of your business, and by doing these little things right, you set yourself up for a more successful website in the future. As always, any questions, please do drop me a line. I'm on Facebook, email and phone, and other than that, all I can say is bye for now. Thank you.